Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Alright guys, so today we're bringing you a head-to-head 7-inch battle. The reigning champion, the Nexus 7, is going up against the new Kindle Fire HD. Now, so far we've already done a review on the Kindle Fire HD and the Nexus versus the Samsung, so if you haven't checked those out, make sure to check them out. We'll try to leave a link at the end for that. But then, which one is it out of these two? The Nexus 7 is the current reigning champion, just being a quad-core processor, great resolution. These actually two have the highest resolution for 7-inch tablets right now on the market. And they're really polar opposites. This is stock Google, whereas this is stock Amazon. So they're both Android, but this is a very different kind of style. So let's go over them and let's see what makes each one different and unique. First, let's go for the look and feel. So on the new Kindle Fire HD, we have a stereo speakers, which will definitely take into play on the music and movies section of the review. In terms of weight, it's a little bit heavier than the other two 7-inch tablets that it's going up against. It does have a front camera, no rear camera, and noise cancellation mic on the top and the bottom. And also you have on the bottom, you have a micro HDMI and micro USB that it charges from. And then on this side over here, we have the headphone port, and we have the very poorly done volume rocker and power adapter. Now the reason why I say poorly done is because you really can't feel it out. I really can't, it's very hard to kind of you have to kind of push around, so you end up pushing it, but you really can't feel it out very easily, so it's definitely a problem with it. As well as you see the next problem with it is that you get a bunch of ads. It takes about $15, I think, one-time fee for you to get rid of the ads, or else you will always have the ads in the beginning. Now the Nexus, on the other hand, is the lightest 7-inch one right now on the market, and it definitely feels that way, and after holding it for a long period of time, you don't get tiresome, your hands don't get tired of holding it. You also have a front camera, again no rear camera on this one. Very simplistic design. I love the back though, because it makes it really easy to hold. It has a mono speaker, yes, stereo speakers, but it's coming out of one grill, so it's a mono sound. I've been through this before. Micro USB to connect it, as well as a headphone port on the bottom. And yes, it's on the bottom. You get 10 points if you know that reference. Also the volume rocker right here, as well as the power button. So very simplistic again, and on the unlock screen you actually have the ability to go to unlock, or you have the ability to go to Google Now, which we'll go over in a little bit. Alright, so in terms of how their layout is, again very different as well. On here you have a carousel effect where basically all of your recent apps are right here, and then you can also have a favorites right here at the bottom. Whereas on here you can basically customize it as you like it and however you want it to be. And then you also have your app drawer where you have all of your apps that you can see, and then you can customize it of course with widgets. Widgets are obviously not present on here. The main other thing is just on the bottom, you can see the obvious ecosystem difference right here versus here. So on these two tablets we have, again, the Amazon ecosystem versus the Google ecosystem. Google's ecosystem is obviously a lot bigger in comparison, especially since you can get the Amazon ecosystem. For example, here I have the Kindle app, as well as the Amazon MP3 player, as well as the Amazon App Store itself. So you can really kind of take everything that this one has over here. The only thing you can't really take is the Instant Prime videos. There is a workaround around that, but it costs money, so obviously I always go for which ones do not cost you money. So in terms of look and feel, very simplistic versus just being able to do whatever you want, kind of more of the traditional Android style versus more of simplistic like iPhone kind of style. So those are the two different styles of this. Now it's going to be a lot more limited as well. You have a much bigger app store here comparing to this. I have videos on how to get things like different browsers on the Kindle, as well as things you can normally not get on the Kindle on my other videos, including the camera app. So actually one thing important to note is neither one of these come with a camera app. However, I've been able to get both cameras on here. So if you want to know how I did that, feel free to check out the channel, and I have videos on how to download the camera for both of these, because both of these do not come with a camera. So I think it's just an important note. And on that note, let's start going into the things. So let's start with web browsing. Alright, so normally on these devices you only have one browser that you can use on the Kindle Fire HD, as where on the Chrome, on the Nexus, you can use Chrome, you can use Dolphin browser, you can use all these different browsers. Now, both of them can have Flash put on them. However, the Nexus is much easier in comparison to the, and this one finished first. Just, I wanted to make sure that I point that out. This one's still going, as where this one's already finished. In terms of browsers, you can get Chrome, all the different browsers, and Flash is easier to put on the Nexus, as where it doesn't really work on the Kindle Fire HD on the times I've tried to use it. So now let's actually test out in terms of pinch to zoom. And this one's still loading. Okay, it finally loaded. Alright, and let's just test this out. So pinch to zoom, fairly similar. And then let's do double tap, zoom all the way out. So in double tap we can definitely see a clear example where the Chrome browser is going to be better. Let's just go to one more website. And actually this has been true, one thing we found, even though we've already seen that the NVIDIA quad-core processors have issues with web browsing inconsistency, it's actually a lot better in comparison to the Kindle Fire's inconsistency. The Kindle Fire HD just has a very inconsistent browser. Sometimes it'll move fast and sometimes it'll move dramatically slow. And there's no real way to kind of see when it'll move better, and that's really the problem, of course. So now, sorry, I'm trying to move them as easy as possible. My right hand is faster compared to my left. So I'm trying to move it as quick as seamless as possible. And then the double tap. Again, the double tap is just a little bit quicker on Chrome than it is on here. So in terms of web browsing, the Nexus is just going to have a more consistent basis, plus you can put Flash in it more easily in comparison to the Kindle Fire HD. Now let's go on to music. Okay, so we're going to use the same exact player for both of these. And let's start it off. Both at full volume. Okay, so hopefully you guys could hear that well, but let me clarify what happened. The Kindle Fire HD is much louder in comparison to the Nexus 7. However, the one issue I have with this is that the Nexus 7 is a lot clearer. Especially when the bass hits, you can really hear the distortion from the Kindle Fire HD. Rewind it a little bit if you want to check it out again. But that's definitely one thing that I noticed a lot is when you hit it to the highest volume, it just kind of, you can definitely see the difference in it. Alright, now we're going to do the video. And for this, of course, we're going to turn it down. And remember, I am doing a YouTube comparison video, but I do want to point out again that the Kindle Fire HD does not come with a YouTube app, and you have to download it the way I did to get it on there. So check out the video if you want to know how to get a YouTube app for the Kindle Fire HD, but it does not come with it. So definitely point that out. And then let me just zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. Then zoom in a little bit. Alright. Hopefully these will play at the same time. Oops, this one's got an ad going. Oh, and this kind of brings up the Wi-Fi connection, and again why this one's web browsing is going to be a little bit better on the Nexus 7. Okay, now skip the ad. This one's still loading just to get the ad first. Sorry guys, this one's just, again, showing you kind of the web browsing difference of how this gets a lot quicker in comparison to this one. Alright guys, well we can see on this one that you definitely have a difference in terms of color reproduction. I'll wait till this one can pause on here, but you guys can definitely see when it comes to the quality in screen, the colors are going to be a lot better on the Kindle Fire HD in comparison to the Nexus. I'm just waiting for it to load because the web browser or the internet connection is being really bad on it. I haven't noticed this too much. I mean, you can definitely see a better internet connection in the Nexus 7 as well as the Samsung 7-inch when doing these comparisons, but this one's just really bad. Here, let me see if I can just back this one up maybe. There we go. So just so you guys can see a little bit better, the color reproduction. Okay, just so you can see this color reproduction versus this color reproduction. So this one's more true, but this one just has definitely a better kind of look to it, as we can see. So that's going to be the video comparison to it. And then we have the camera comparison. Now I want to note again that neither of these come with a camera app. You do have to get them separately. Now when using both of these, it's kind of a little bit different, but basically, let me just show you guys. This one is, the Kindle Fire is also a lot more zoomed in, so I have to kind of move this one closer to get to it. Obviously I have a lot of light here, but the Nexus is going to be the better one overall in terms of camera, just on the couple of shots that we've taken with both of them. Nexus is just going to be slightly better, and also it's not so zoomed in. The Kindle Fire, you feel like you have to kind of move away from you because it's so zoomed in, so it's just one thing I've kind of noticed. The yeah, it's a photo thing, but yeah, basically it's a lot bigger, so it's gonna be, yeah. All right, and then also I forgot to do the book one, so I just wanted to show that on terms of text, just so you guys can see. Clarity is pretty almost identical, to be honest, just for the fact that they have the same screen resolution, Now I do want to say that if you saw the last review we did, the Kindle Fire HD had a more sepia kind of white to the Samsung, and then the Nexus has even more sepia than the Kindle Fire HD. So I thought that was funny. And a page that, you know, both of these are supposed to be white, they actually look more sepia-like than actually being white. So just a bit more tan or ivory than being white. So just one thing, but clarity, they're pretty on par with each other. In terms of gaming, it's just no contest. The Nexus 7 has NVIDIA behind it, as well as just a much better graphics card. So gaming easily goes to here. As well as one thing that we can kind of see is you get a lot more apps on the Nexus in comparison to that. You literally have almost every single app on Android work for this, no problem. So about 500,000 apps, whereas this one will have more like about, I think, 120,000, which isn't still bad. It's about as much as Windows has, but just still, it's a lot more costly too. Games like Angry Birds, for instance, is free on here and you have to pay for it on here. A lot of those kind of things come about, so it's noticeable that you have to pay more for apps on here, as where more apps are free on here. In terms of battery life is slightly going to go with the Kindle Fire HD. Now, let me clarify something. When you use both to the fullest, and I mean like doing gaming and all that kind of stuff and all that, the Nexus seems to last slightly longer. However, standby time, the Nexus will still drain battery a little bit quicker, or not a little bit, but a noticeable amount quicker compared to the Kindle Fire HD, which almost loses no battery life in standby time. So definitely one thing that we have to point out in terms of battery life, that it lasted longer. In terms of extras, neither of these guys have really extras when it comes to physical stuff. Google will definitely have the extras when it comes to software. You have things like Google Now, you have things like voice to speech that's beyond anything else that's out on the market right now. So you have things like that. But in terms of extras physical wise, I have to give it to the Kindle Fire HD just because it has a micro HDMI. Now you can get a HML adapter, which basically is a micro USB that goes on the bottom, and it has an HDMI on the other side, and basically you can do HDMI through that. But just the fact this has an HDMI connection besides that, so you can charge it while doing that. You can kind of do that with this one too, but it makes it, this one's going to be the winner for that purpose. Lastly, you can also go down to the price, and it's definitely going to be the Nexus. For the price of $199, the Nexus gives you more for your money in terms of processing power, in terms of graphics power, and in terms of apps. So for the price, you're definitely getting a better value for the Nexus. So let's tally them up, guys. This is actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. First off, look and feel definitely goes to the Nexus. Lighter, and it just feels easier in your hands. In terms of web browsing, the Nexus gets a slight advantage and definitely more consistent. So not only is it a little bit faster, of course, with the processor, but it's more consistent than the Kindle Fire HD. In terms of both music and movies, it's going to go to the Kindle Fire. You have stereo speakers, so they do give a louder sound. Although the Nexus is a little bit clearer at times, it's overall going to be more enjoyable on the Kindle Fire, especially with that color reproduction. It just gives it a little bit more richer colors in comparison to the Nexus. In terms of camera and gaming, camera is going to be better on the Nexus overall, as well as the fact that the camera app is a lot easier to get on the Nexus compared to the Kindle Fire HD. As well as gaming, it's just no contest. It's going to go to the Nexus. Just way more games. Most of them are free in comparison, and you have a much better gaming experience. The games play a lot better on the Nexus and the Kindle Fire HD. In terms of battery life, it's going to go to the Kindle Fire slightly advantage. Amazing standby time. Definitely, it's one thing that I have to note. You can go literally days on the standby time and it won't drop really anything at all. Extras is also going to go to the Kindle Fire HD just for that one extra connection that the Nexus did not have. And then price point is definitely going to go to the Nexus just for the better processor, more apps, and better graphics for the same price. You get a better product. Let's tally them up, and the Nexus 7 wins, guys. So I know most of you guys expected the Nexus 7 to win, just because of I know my fan base and I know what you guys were expecting. But you really have to hand it to the Kindle Fire to winning in some aspects that most of us probably didn't even think it was going to win in comparison. And actually, the funny thing is, this was closer in comparison to the Samsung versus the Nexus, which I thought was pretty interesting because the Samsung has been the Kindle Fire more, and the Nexus beat the Samsung. So it was really kind of interesting. It really kind of depends on what you guys are looking for in a 7-inch tablet. So definitely take that into account when you're looking at these and trying to make your decision of which one you want to end up going with. Alright guys, so that was the review. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe so I can keep doing more of these videos for you guys. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.